For every shilling, we collect, we spend close to 65 to 70 cents to pay the debt, leaving us with a small room, even for that to be felt in the economy. The issue really is this. This government has decided to take the hard decisions that most government postponed, starting with the Kibaki government, for example. When President Kibaki came into power, there are some things that he did that postponed the problem to the next government. Number one, he increased the retirement age from 55 to 60 years. And if you've seen today's daily, there's that issue of aging civil servants, close to 25%. So Kibaki's kept paying pension and hiring of new civil servants, number one. Number two, Kibaki did not take in more debt, but he sold most of our public assets through IPOs. Safaricom, Kengen, Mumias, Kenyari. He used that model to raise more money. Based on value, they are most. Most of them are moribund. So he sold most of our, because investors will not buy IPO dying companies. So he sold the jewels of our companies. And that was one of his method of raising funds. Then we came to Jubilee government, segmented into two. Two. Okay. Yes. So Jubilee 1.0 took in some debts, and largely was because of Kibaki did not have county government to send money to. So this is the start of devolution. The Jubilee government started the implementation of devolution, and they had to do a lot of setup through the transition authority. And most of Jubilee debts in term one, the bigger one being SGR, we could see where the debt went to. We had electricity connectivity from 48% to close to 70%. The road annuity program, in every village you'll find, because we're being allocated by constituency, like 200 kilometer per constituency, mostly. So you'll find during Jubilee 1.0, there was a lot of road tarmacking ahead. They went ahead to an exam on the 2017 election, and they were re-elected based on what they had done. Then come Jubilee 2.0, and they took in more debt than in term one. And those debt mainly, most of it came during the COVID recovery. And it was used mainly for subsidy, unga subsidy, fuel subsidy. Now, we've been able to bring the cost of unga down without any subsidy. Now, those people who are wearing sufurias in the street, they're no longer there because of that. So the thing has shifted. We've been able to bring down the cost of fuel with 16% full VAT and with zero subsidy. Those are the more sustainable way.
So how have you brought down the cost of fuel?
By being prudent.
How?
By being prudent.
In what?
In managing the shilling, for example, the forex, by drafting through the Middle East deal that we received fuel without paying a shilling then, just so that we can have a breathing space. There are a lot of things that happen in between.
That brought down the cost of fuel?
It did. Or do you have another?
Now I'm wondering how that brought down the cost of fuel.
Of course, if the dollar was
so
160...
the G2G deal brought down the cost of fuel?
Yes.
It just didn't make fuel available to Kenya?
No. This is what it did. And this is what we were supposed to achieve.
Okay.
We were in a fix in terms of forex. So we couldn't have enough forex to purchase the fuel. And you know, in terms of a shortage of forex, countries experience high inflation and the issue of exchange rate. So we needed breathing space so that we can bring in more dollars. As we've seen, we've received a lot of dollars from agricultural productivity. We opened up, you remember coffee export was frozen during the reforms. So we exported a lot of coffee. Agriculture sector brought in a lot of dollars. Remittances from diaspora bring in a lot of inflows. and this was a deliberate effort. Previously, there was a decline in diaspora remittances because of certain factors. For example, those who went to Western world long time ago, they had lost touch with us in the country right now. For example, my aunties who went in the 90s, their kids now, they don't have any relation with us here. So that sending, that attachment was gone. Now the government has been doing a deliberate effort of exporting excess labor until our economy can be able to accommodate the entire workforce. And those people have immediate family in the country now who are dependent on them. And that has helped increase the
So
foreign.
what you're saying, Higgins,
Yes.
is those are the measures that have brought the cost of fuel down?
Partly,
Partly.
yes.
Okay. If you listen to the people who are out now,
Yes.
talking about the high taxation, the government spending, and the unchecked government spending, and the response that is then coming from leaders. Some of them are your members of your party, right? Are the members of your party responding to the issues being raised, or are they responding to different issues?
I've seen quite a number going to the villages and telling the people why they voted yes. I've seen Didmas Baraza, I've seen the member for Kuresoi, and they're saying the same thing.
What are they saying?
You told us you want this road built. You told us you want this water project. You told us this is what is contained in the budget, and this finance bill is supposed to raise that.
And is
amount.
this the only time that a budget contains development that has roads, that has water, that has electricity connection? What's different about this budget from the previous budgets?
Especially
No,
when we know
there's
that
no
our
difference, by the
borrowing
way.
is intended for development. That's what it's purposed for.
What I'm saying,
So
is
what
that
are they saying that is different now?
it's not different now. What I've said in the last 2 years,
Yeah.
the first time people are debating this thing, the finance bill has always been there. Last year.
What I'm
the year
asking
previous.
is,
yes,
are your leaders being truthful to the people?
They are being
when
truthful.
they say, you told me you want a road, and that's why we are increasing the taxes that you're paying this year to the taxes that you expect
So
you
we
to
can
pay
give you
next
your
year,
road.
so that you can do the road.
no.
Is it because that there was no road budgeted for in the previous years?
What I'm
Is
saying,
it because there was no water project budgeted for in the previous years, or electricity? Is it the first time that this government is budgeting for roads and electricity
Are
and
they the
water?
first government who are budgeting for these things?
but I'm saying this is the first government that the public are talking about finance bill. So it's the public
And I'm
who are
asking
woke.
about the response.
But-
The public, we are clear.
Yes, that's what
I'm
I'm
asking
saying.
about the response from the leaders. Like you've said, you've
I'm
quoted
saying-
the leaders, Didibas Barasa, the MP for Kuresoi, and the other MPs, including the MP for Kikuyu.
Yeah.
When they're responding to the people,
Yes,
are they being truthful
they are.
in their words?
In fact, it's the people who should look at the two bills together. Say we don't want finance bill. Correct, yes. Compare the finance bill with the budget. Ask the people. Say this project is not good for us.
Which is why I asked you, Higgins. Are the people only addressing the tax measures, or when you hear the people, are they talking about public finance management as a whole? Are people happy with the budget of 4.2 trillion shillings, or 3.9, or 4.0, whatever figure is in
I've
that budget?
tried to look through.
Are
I'm just
people-
seeing reject finance bill.
are
I'm not
people-
seeing any. I'm
So
not
people are
seeing
okay
any.
with the expenditure.
I'm not seeing any specific. They are not giving
Are
any
people
specific.
look,
UDA tone deaf to what's happening in the country? Are they hearing what the people are saying? Are they not? The Deputy Executive Director of the party, Brian Higgins Bogwa, is our guest this morning. So as the people are agitating on social media, in other platforms, and as they prepare for tomorrow, we are seeing the response that's coming from the government, right? Yesterday, your party leader, the President of the Republic of Kenya, spoke at a church service, and he said, we are hearing what the youth are saying. And we are happy that the youth are coming out to engage on matters of governance in this country. And I'd like to tell the youth that, yes, we are going to have a conversation with you so that we can identify, and I use those words because those are the words that he said. He used the words, we can identify your issues and see how to deal with them. Sounds like the president thinks that the youth don't have their have not identified their issues.
I can't speak on
that it's
behalf of
only
the-
after the sitting down that we shall identify the issues. Although, anyway, he goes on to say that, let me tell you, we have allocated money, extra money into CDF. We have put in money for CDF that will now mean that there is more money for bursary support, that there is no money that's going to be used now to build the ICT hubs in the constituencies, which will make jobs available for our youth. We are going to have more money into help. We are going to have more money into this and the other. That is the party leader, the president, the head of the country. Your party secretary general says that these guys appear to have been paid. Appears there's some underhand force behind this.
No. The Secretary General said he'll organize a meeting between the young people and the president.
Uh-huh.
I didn't hear him.
What
say-
else did he say?
I didn't hear him say it was
The government spokesman says, we think that there's an underhand deal. The leader of the majority in the National Assembly says, these are people who just don't understand. They're living in a bubble. They are privileged. They do not know the poverty that's in the country. I'm not hearing leaders who are actually saying, maybe there's something that the people of Kenya are saying about how we are managing the country. What I'm hearing and what I've heard in the last 30 minutes of you being here, Higgins, is you saying, you know what, it's you guys who are not getting it. We are putting money to fund a budget, to fund projects that you told us that you want. And you're sticking by that line. And you're not hearing as if people are telling you that we do not think that there's a correlation between the money you want to raise and the projects that we told you and the projects that you're saying that you'll put in money for and the projects we'll see. Again, that's a feedback that is coming out from the people. That there's a disconnect between what we expect, what we have seen previously, and what you're telling us you will do going forward. There's a disconnect. But you're sticking to the same line. Are you not hearing it?
But that's what it is.
What?
Eric.
What?
What?
To cut anything on finance bill, you have to remove something from the budget.
Remove it.
So I'm saying, tell us what to remove. You know, that's why I'm saying you cannot separate the finance bill from the budget. If the budget was good for those MPs who voted no, then they should pass the finance bill. But if there's a problem, they go back because this finance bill cannot stand on its own.
Okay,
without the budget.
I think I get what you're saying
Yes.
now. So essentially what you're saying is that if there was a problem,
Yes.
that we take it back to Parliament
Yes.
and they should have actually fixed it. But that the government today really, it's not us. It is the members of Parliament who should actually go and fix what the people of Kenya are saying that they are rejecting here. Is that what you're saying?
No.
And that it lays in the hand of Parliament to actually have that done?
Yes, Parliament has the power to do appropriation. In fact, it's the biggest players in the budget making is Parliament.
You also realize that the biggest
So-
percentage of representation comes from your party.
Exactly.
And that we saw 100% of that representation vote in favor.
Not 100%.
I mean, almost.
There were some three.
Some three, almost.
Absentee.
Almost.
The one in Parliament
They were
that
there,
voted
but
no.
they didn't vote. So there
Yeah,
were three
Shomba
out
and
of the
others.
200 and some, right?
Yes.
That's what we are saying here.
Yes.
Okay, so almost 100%.
Yes.
But here you are saying that this is these same individuals that we should actually go back to say, you know what, if there was something that you wanted to be removed, remove it then so that it can actually be sorted out. But this is still my question. And I'd like if you would please be able to just look at this critically. It dovetails on what Eric and that question that CT was asking. You've told us very clearly here that these are the numbers that we've put down and this is what we want to do. And so when Kenyans come out and they say, look, unfortunately, this cannot be, this is what we want. Are you then making the connection with what you're saying? If Kenyans don't want this, remove it. And this is what they want. But even that thing that you've said they want, we are not seeing it. If I met you today, Higgins, and I treated you in a certain type of way, and you felt something as a result of that, what do you think you'll remember 5 years down the line when we meet again? What do you think you're going to remember? What I said or how I made you feel?
How you made me feel.
Absolutely. So if you see in the past that Kenyans said they wanted a road here and all this hullabaloo was made about a budget, and then they don't see that road being made, when you come back to them next time and you say, here we are going to do, what do you think they're going to greet that expression with? Doubt or trust?
Now, unless you give me now specific, this road was budgeted for, and it was not done. It was allocated money. Because I still go back to what I'm saying. You go to that budget. You tell me there are some things we cannot touch. Let's say the 1.7 trillion on debt. We cannot touch.
Okay, tell me where that debt went to. There's a perfect example. We know that in Kenya, twice, 2 reasons why you can borrow. And it is one for development, and in the second, it is in the very rare occurrence where you're trying to meet a budget deficit in the time that the financial year rolls over to the next. Those are the 2 instances in which Kenya constitutionally can borrow. Yes? Now, 1.7 trillion is going to debt. We don't have an updated debt register in Kenya. 2019 is the latest numbers that we're looking at. So I'm asking, this money that is being paid, do we know?
What do you mean by 2019?
The debt register of the country is not updated.
No.
Is it updated?
It's updated. And even if there's a projection even for
It's
the debt we'll have next year.
updated to which date? Which year?
I've not checked the Auditor General's book.
I'm telling you.
It can't be 2019. It
All
can't
right.
because the other time Parliament was going to debate on increasing the ceiling.
We can talk about
Of the
increasing
debt.
the ceiling.
No, because
when we talk about a debt register,
in-
I'm talking about the United States of America gave you $1.9 billion. This is what it went to do.
Now-
This is the status of the project.
now-
it is complete.
now,
That's what I'm talking
Other
about.
than ring-fenced debt like the SGR one, you cannot. If you give me 1,000, I give you 1,000. We mix it up. You won't tell which one was from which pocket. This is how government works.
No.
Let me say this. This is how government works. Not all debts are ring-fenced. We borrow money, it is deposited into the consolidated account
For
budgetary support.
not for development.
For development.
Yes. Now, there's one thing I need to
If
tell you
budgetary
people.
support is paying,
The-
it is paying salaries. That is against.
That's
the
against the
PFM
law.
Act.
Correct. Correct. Now go to the first charge of a consolidated account. It's debt. Second charge, salaries and pension. Third charge, constitutional offices and judiciary. Fourth charge, county government. So there's an
It's an order of priority.
order of priority.
That's true.
On how we utilize our resources. Now, half of the debt we borrow domestically, and mainly for budgetary support. One thing that Kenyans must know, there are some expenditure that are recurrent in nature, but they use those metrics to measure how a country is developed. For example, the ratio of teacher to student, or a policeman to population. Those are boxes that are ticked when you are looking at how a country is developed. The other day, the doctors were on the street for quite a number of days. And Kenyans were urging the government to talk to the doctors and settle their bills. Some of what was agreed with the doctors are factored in this budget.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is this. Please, let us not skip the processes. We say finance bill is bad. It's bad. It's okay. But what brings about this finance bill? The budget. Now we go meet COG, Council of Governors, and we tell them the country is in a bad place. Please, let us reduce the county allocations from 400 billion, we do 300 billion. We go to the next item. Maybe the government can try and renegotiate on our debt obligation, but the market might interpret it wrongly. You remember when the government said it want to redeem the Eurobond early. Those rating agencies, like of Moody, downgraded the country because it was treating it as default. So sometimes renegotiating